We've got barbecue back here. You're all invited. Welcome to the Sloopcast. How are you doing today, Kyle?
Doing all right, Jared. Doing all right. How are you doing today, good sir?
You know, we took a week off, got a little bit of sun. Do I look? It's hard to tell because I'm back here in the chicken cooker. Do I look any tanner at all? Anything? No.
They said no.
Well, only Austin said no. Austin doesn't speak for everybody. I'm just going to assume that's a medical joke, and I'm not going to follow up on it. Kyle, today, I will. Today, we are going to, and this is going to stay under, I'm not going to make it its own brand. I think this will stay under the Wasteland, but we're going to introduce a new, I want to say, this would be like like the Sloopcast is the show, the sub show would be Wasteland, and then like the sub show, or as Austin points out, you would call that a segment. That'd be the correct way of saying it, but I don't like saying things the correct way, so I'm going to say the sub show. We're going to call this Die on This Hill. Kyle and I, and maybe in the future guests will bring their own. We're going to introduce a topic that we know will be controversial, and then defend it to the death.
Sounds good.
All right. Recently, I'm gonna jump in first. Is that good? Is that good with you, Kyle?
Yes, sir.
All right. Recently, the NCAA announced a change in the rules. The change in the rules was going to be to eliminate the clock stopping on a first down. Now, in college football, we're very used to one team scoring, there being 40 seconds left on the clock, and then everyone jumps on Twitter, left too much time on the clock. Everyone, they left too much time on the clock. Because we got real accustomed to just, you can be able to string together a long drive at the end. Why? You get that first down, you get up there and you can clock the ball and not lose any time. And it just sort of led to the beautiful chaos that is college football, and now it's gone. Now, why did the NCAA change this rule? To quote unquote shorten the games. Not so great for offenses that need a few possessions to get rolling. I mean, maybe not. But why make this change? They want to shorten the games. Now,
Yeah, you would think they wouldn't want that because, commercials and.
Yeah, but all the games need to fit inside of a tidy television window. The noon games need to end in time for the 3:30 games to come on. The 3:30 games need to end in time to get the 8 o'clock games on. So how else, Kyle, could we possibly shorten a college football game? Gee, I don't know. Maybe get rid of some of the damn commercials.
Maybe not go to commercial after kickoffs, especially for how much scoring has been going on in college football over the past 20 years here.
I thought these were supposed to be hot takes. I'm getting there, Austin. I'm setting up the problem. Then the hot take will be the solution.
Yeah, cut off the commercials between kickoff and the first play of offense.
But Kyle, we live in a capitalist society. They need to make their money. NBC, CBS, you guys in the chat, don't get ahead of me. ABC, CBS, NBC, ESPN, they just paid a ton of money for these TV contracts. I know what he's going to say. And honestly, not a hot take. Come on. You see what happens when they change like a single color on the jerseys. So the point here is that in order to facilitate more commercials, because that's what they're not saying. They're not saying we're shortening the game so we could put in more commercials. What they do is they make the game too damn long with commercials and then say, oh, look, the games are going too long. And then they shrink the game time. They're continuing to disrupt the game, change the game in order to jam more commercials in. This is what's happening. And again, as I was saying, we live in a capitalist society. NBC, CBS, Fox, they need to make their money back. They paid all this money for the game rights. They need to make their money back. They need to make a profit. They need to keep the stockholders happy. They need to pay Kirk Herbstreit and everybody and Gus Johnson and everybody. So my question to you is, how on earth, because I know you're a soccer guy, Kyle. How many times does a World League or maybe an EPL, an English Premier League for everyone playing along at home, how many times do those leave the game for commercials?
I mean, MLS, you throw in pretty much any soccer game.
Yeah, but MLS doesn't make any money.
They cut to commercial once the ball kicks off. They only go to commercial once. And that's at halftime.
Or maybe twice during halftime, Austin says. But the point is, it's during halftime. Now, Kyle, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe the EPL makes plenty of money.
For sure.
In fact, I'm pretty sure I saw somewhere, sometimes during the water breaks, but the water breaks are typically only played when, they play in the middle of the goddamn desert. Thank you, corrupt ass FIFA. I don't know if this is still accurate, but I know at one point I saw a figure that basically said that Manchester United is the most valuable franchise in all of the world. Most sports franchise in all of the world. At last I checked. Now, it seems to me that plenty of money can be made by not going to commercial. That's all I'm saying. So why, and I know people, especially with like EPL, England's version of the Cowboys. Yeah, basically. Yankees, Cowboys, Duke, Notre Dame fans. You don't need to pluralize that. Notre Dame fan in shambles over that Man U statement. Now, they're also Man U fans. What the fuck are you talking about? And Lakers. Don't forget the Lakers, but they're also Man U fans. It's fine. Update, Man U fell a shit ton. Listen, it was true at one time. It's fine. 19th now. Listen, it was true at one point. Point is that, and I know like EPL or even the MLS, people will say, oh my God, but look, the entire front of the jersey is a corporate logo. Isn't that gross? It is. It is gross. But is it grosser than changing the rules of your game to accommodate commercials? Changing the fundamental rules, changing the fundamental aspects of the game? They don't give a shit. People will still watch. But you'll like this product more. You will like this product more. How do we still make money? No more commercials. How do we still make money? Simple. Here's our updated rankings. Cowboys, then the Yankees, then the Knicks, then Real Madrid. Okay. Spanish soccer team. Is fourth. They're still subscription services is not a bad answer to that, Zach. And by the way, will there be commercials on the Peacock games? Stay tuned. I don't know.
Good question.
How on earth do we make this money back? How do we make sure that everyone's happy? How do we make sure Ohio State makes money? How do we make sure that NBC, Fox, CBS, they all make money? The way we've always done these things is that we just litter advertising all over the place. And I know that that's not great. I bet my life earnings that Peacock games will still have ads. I only ever had Peacock for a few months once, and I don't remember. We'll see. Peacock is actually decent with ads. But we'll see. They might just make the games like free on Peacock, but then load them with ads because they're really just kind of suck. Listen, I'm just saying it right now. They're going to throw tons of ads into the Peacock games because they don't want people to know there's a better alternative out there. They don't want people to get used to how good the Peacock games are with less ads. They don't want people to see how short the game is if the Peacock games have less ads. Mark my words on that. They'll throw as much ad space into that as possible.
All right, Jared. So what is your solution?
Solution to the problem. We're throwing ads all over the place. And yes, I'm sorry, everyone. That means also on the Buckeye jerseys. You'll see it on the thumbnail. I'll throw a couple of the pictures down here in the Discord chat. Here's Denzel Burke. He's got a Kroger logo and a Honda logo right there on the jersey. And I'm going to lean into this part because I know this is the part people are going to hate the most. But like, there's no reason why you cannot copy the EPL or whatever soccer league model. I don't really mind it. Listen, the NBA already did this. And you know what? You didn't get any game back for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not horrible. Well, thank you. I did my best as far as Photoshop is concerned. Like the NBA already did this. The Goodyear logo on the jersey there is identical to what is currently on the Cavs jersey. At least it was. I didn't watch any Cavs this year. I didn't have cable. I turned my cable off. Maybe it's on the Cavs jersey. Point is that we need more advertisements in game. This replay brought to you by State Farm. Oh, look there. You know how you have the first down marker on the field and it's just sort of projected onto the field with TV magic? Guess what? You're going to see a Honda logo there now. You're going to have some green or blue, whatever color they use, or maybe video boards right there on the sidelines. We're putting ads all over the damn place. And here's the thing, I'm telling you, the ads all over the damn place are going to happen regardless. Let's at least get the game back before it happens. Let's wholesale jump into it before it just naturally happens. Like we're just really accustomed to the advertisements in the net now. We're real accustomed to the advertisements on the side of the coach's headphones now. By the way, this wouldn't even be the first time that we've seen corporate logos on player jerseys. We're already super accustomed to seeing a Nike logo on that jersey, aren't we?
I mean, we hear it sometimes.
Or the bowl game logos.
I'm drawing a blank on exactly how Paul Keel says it, but anytime that Ohio State, was it like extra point or field goal
is brought to you by,
that's another was it like another bag for groceries for
every
Kroger.
sack sends $10 to the Ohio Food Bank or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, do something like that.
Which, by the way, Kroger, that's not near enough. I'm sorry, that's not near enough. But anyway, what does $10 buy you at Kroger right now? Jack shit, that's what it buys you. Yeah, but you can tip the self-checkout now.
God.
I no. Oh, don't send me down that path. Do not send me down that path. So yeah, we can make this money back.
I can see that. I really can see that, and I think
permanent advertising on the score bug, projected advertising onto the fields, video boards, or potentially just sort of blank green screen boards on the, sort of along the walls. But won't they just do on the field advertising? But won't they just do the on the field with the gluttony of commercials because money? See, that's the thing. This is what I'm saying. All of this shit I'm saying is going to happen anyway. All of these ads, they're just going to sneak because they just sneak them in one at a time. All of this shit is happening anyway. It will happen anyway. So we might as well get something back for it.
You might as well put some sort of advertisements on the field or like right along the sideline there too.
Yeah. There's no reason why again, just watch an EPL game. Watch a World Cup game. They're projecting giant logos into the weren't they doing that at the World Cup this year where they were putting logos at center field? Mostly just betting websites. Yeah. I said midfield, didn't I? Or did I say center field? If I said center.
You did say center.
My bad. You hear what I'm saying though. And I know that people will freak out simply at the idea, and I'm going to scroll back up. Here's an Ohio State logo with corporate jerseys on it. Here's an Ohio State logo for the YouTube viewers down there in the Discord chat. With an Ohio State logo with corporate logos, or Ohio State jersey with corporate logos on it. And people freaked out when Ohio State came out with alternative jerseys. People freaked out when those alternative jerseys were black. People will freak out about this to no end. But yet, no one bats an eye. Now I'm going to turn into the Joker. You put a Goodyear logo on the jersey and everyone loses their mind. Unless, of course, it's Goodyear presenting the Rose Bowl, in which case no one gives a shit. You can put, as long as the Goodyear logo also says Rose Bowl on it, no one gives a shit. And by the way, and again, Jared, I don't think this is a hot take as you think it is. I think you don't understand how bad people would freak out if Ohio State had a Wendy's logo on their jersey September 3rd this year. What is it, September 3rd? Twitter going to go crazy. Yeah, people would freak out. People would freak out hard if Ohio State came out second. If Ohio State came out, maybe it's just because I'm not 49 years old, but I don't care. Wendy's would be pretty rough. Why? It's a Columbus company. Well, just because it's fast food? Do we need something more prestigious? Oh, I'm sorry. I said Honda. Should I have said Mercedes? Would that make it better? Despite the fact that Honda employs how many frickin' people in the state of Ohio? But does it need to be prestigious? Is Goodyear good enough? Mercedes more for the golf. Yeah, this is true.
That is true.
Needs to be roosters. Oh, by the way, one more thing about the logos before I let Kyle do his hot take. I did mandate on these, by the way, that they're single color logos. We didn't go crazy with it. These are single color logos. These are single runs on the screen. I just want to point out that and by the way, they do that in the NBA currently, where when they have the corporate logo on the chest, that it's a single color pass.
I think one thing that
Roosters doesn't have the money. I'd be for it too, but Roosters doesn't have the money.
Yeah. If and when they do that, Jared, they would not touch the Buckeye helmet. The helmet would not have any kind of
I hate to point this
on it.
I hate to point this out to you, Kyle, but there's already a Rydell logo on it, and there's already a Big Ten logo on it.
That is prime real estate, absolutely. But then you start putting Buckeye stickers over that, then, and at the end of the year, you're not going to see whatever logo is on it.
But that's what the little flap in the front and the little flap in the back is for, where it currently says Big Ten on the front and Rydell on the back.
Yeah, probably not going to get rid of Rydell, the one who actually makes the helmet.
Hey, listen, I'm just saying, what it's right there. It's right there. A Gold Star Buckeye helmet. Gold Star. I don't think Skyline could afford to get on the Ohio State helmet, let alone Gold Star.
Yeah. All right, so I ran some numbers, Jared. I ran some numbers here. So my big take for Ohio State this year.
Okay.
Over the past since 2000 through the 2016 season, Ohio State's averaged more than 41 points per game and over 450 yards per game.
Okay.
I think
so far, just
year,
facts.
Yeah, those are facts. I think this year, Ohio State will not average 40 yards and 500 yards per game. So I'm going to say that they're going to average probably the year that we thought was going to be the best year for Ohio State in terms of like what returning players Ohio State had, and that they were just going to steamroll everybody. Oh no, I'm sorry. That was the year after that. I'm thinking of the 2015 year. In 2015,
sure.
Yeah. 2015, they averaged 35.7 points and 434 yards. I think this year we're going to see numbers like that. Not like last year where it was 44 points, 490 yards, and then previous year 45 points, 561 yards per game. We're not going to see those kind of numbers this year.
It depends a lot. So, I mean, all right. So far you're saying below average, and below average, Kyle, I'm going to have to point this out. Not that hot of a take to say below average. How bad of a drop off are you expecting?
Well, definitely Well, I mean, that's a 10-point swing, 10 points every game on average, less than last year.
Okay. I mean, last year you have you seen that O-line, Jared? I have. That's kind of what I'm saying. I think Kyle could have swung a little bit harder is all I'm saying.
That is the worst other than the 2011 season, which was bad. That's the worst.
Kyle, we don't talk about 2011.
Yeah, that's the worst offensive team that Ohio State's had. I went back as far as 2010.
Yeah,
which is crazy to think because of you coming off of a national title, and you come up with that kind of year. You would think that they would just steamroll all the other teams, and they just didn't. No, not Bowserman bad. No, they're just not going to have like the dominance, like you're going to expect about 500 yards a game We're not going to see that this year. We're going to see around 400 to 430 a game.
And are you putting this mostly on the offensive line, which has not looked great per all reports?
A lot of it on the offensive line, and then you have a new quarterback, which, I'd love to be proven wrong. Which, I mean, the last time Ohio State's had last three new Ohio State quarterbacks have started. One threw for 50 touchdowns, another for 41 touchdowns, and then the third for 44 touchdowns in a season in their first year.
Are you saying McCord won't hit 40 then? Is that the mark?
No. I think if McCord can throw for, more than 30, I think it would be good.
Whoa. Okay. Now we're back on the bold train. You're saying like you'd be happy if he hit 30? I mean, not happy. Happy's not the right word there. But where are you setting the over? What is your predicted touchdown total for McCord this year?
I'd say it's about 33 touchdowns to 9 interceptions.
That would be the worst quarterback performance in 10 years at Ohio State
since 2016. Actually, no. Yeah, well, it's hard to say because, like, in 2020, if you do touchdown to interception ratio, Justin Fields had the worst in the past 10 years.
2020 doesn't count for a lot of reasons. That's a weird year. We're not counting that.
I know. But it would be the worst since 2016 and 2015.
Man.
Yes, I know there's too many weapons, but it's that offense. If you don't have a good offensive line, really protecting your new quarterback here, they're going to have a bad time.
Don't pizza when you want a French fry, and don't French fry when you want a pizza.
Yes.
All right. Now you're saying, by the way, new quarterback, a completely rehashed offensive line, a new offensive like we've all really downplayed Kevin Wilson leaving, to your point. And I get it. Like, it's Ryan Day's offense. I get it. But you're saying low 30s in the touchdowns, a 10-point drop off in average points per game. Kyle, where are you putting the win-loss on this?
Well, let's put up their schedule here, shall we?
Oh boy. Let's crack this nut.
So a lot of the major sports media out here has Ohio State 10.5 wins for the season, which is, I think, typical for the past 10 years. That's 10 and a half games. Indiana, yeah. So I'm just going to say wins, just no hesitation for me winning. Indiana, Youngstown State, Western Kentucky, Maryland, Purdue. What is that? 5 right there.
I'm sorry.
Rutgers,
when and where is that Purdue
State
game?
And Minnesota. That's 8. That's 8 games. Like, just off the top of my head, just instant yes.
When and where is the Purdue game?
It is at Purdue. It's middle of October.
Do we have a kickoff on that yet?
No, we only have 2 kickoffs times.
Okay.
It's not end of October. It's not November. It's middle of October.
it's more the kickoff time I'm worried about.
Okay.
It's not the date. It's the time.
So 8 games there, leaving Notre Dame, Penn State, Wisconsin, and Michigan.
Okay. Listen, I love Luke Fickell, but he's not. Last year was one of the worst Wisconsin teams we've seen in a long time. He's not turning that program around.
Funny because they have the average or over under wins for Wisconsin set at 9.
The Big Ten West is bad, and they play a shit schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and let's not like dive into the Wisconsin schedule. Let's not go another Inception level deep on this.
Well, especially when they don't play Penn State or Michigan as well. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, 9 might sound reasonable then.
Okay, fuck it. What's Wisconsin's out of conference?
Buffalo, Georgia Southern, and Washington State.
You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Like, yeah, okay, they have a 9 win over under, but come on.
They should. So I'm going to say...
And they will lose one of those, Spike says.
Okay, so I'm going to say yes, win over Wisconsin, and I'm going to say yes, win over Penn State. It is home to Penn State, so I'm just going to say
Whiteout's,
win that.
I forget who, but Whiteout's been announced elsewhere. They announced
it's home. It's home.
Oh,
it's in Columbus this year.
Okay.
So
by the way, not Michigan. They're not lining up. They're not lining up the. They're not lining up the whiteout against the big. They got tired of everyone saying, "Oh, the whiteout's not that bad. Look, they barely have a winning record, or they don't have a winning record, or something."
They
it's like,
didn't
yeah, because,
at one point.
Yeah, but it's just like they always play the toughest team on their schedule or on their home schedule anyway. For the whiteout, it shouldn't be a good record anyway. Doesn't matter. Kyle, let's go through all the Penn State now. Okay.
I wonder if they announced a whiteout for 2023.
I forget who, but they have.
Okay.
Kyle, we're 5 Inception level deep.
We are.
Come back out. Come back out. Ohio
State.
So
that's what did I say? That was 10 wins right there. That's 10 wins.
So you're saying 10 at best, or excuse me, at worst?
I'd say 10 games at worst. Yes.
So, but you're saying 10-2's on the table?
10-2
I saw Austin in the chat.
Definitely on the table. Yes.
I saw Austin in the chat a while back saying 9-3.
Definitely could see 9-3 where Ohio State just shits the bed somewhere, but 9-3, it's definitely a little reach, but it's not unreasonable though. I think my bets would be 10-2 this year.
I think everyone's
until this offensive line can prove me wrong. If the offensive line is night and day better than what we're seeing right now, this team can go undefeated. Period. But without a good offensive line, this is a 10-2, 9-3 team. Even with all the talent they have on offense, on defense, you got to win in the trenches, and we saw that the past couple of years. Don't win in the trenches, you're not going to win.
Ohio State's going to have maybe the best defensive line in the country this year. They'll have the best defensive line in the Big Ten.
You got to prove it here in week 4. You go over.
They don't need to.
You go over.
Sure.
Yeah, you go over a state to take on Notre Dame. There, you got to show up there.
we saw, and I know it really didn't show up statistically for a number of reasons, but we saw a vast, impressive step forward for the defense last year. And I know they still gave up too many big plays and all of that, but it looked like a functioning defense last year where it hadn't under Combs. And I think another year in, the defense is going to be remarkably better. Furthermore, you have an insane wide receiving crew. If not the best, Ohio State, I think, has both the best starting 3 and 2 deep wide receiver rooms in the country. The running back room is insane. Absolutely insane. I know people are worried about Kyle McCord because of the spring game, and I can say, well, Justin Fields had a bad spring game, and look at everyone's bad spring games, and everyone had bad first spring games. Haskins had a bad spring game before he started, and yada, yada, yada. We can have those conversations. I can't read that hand talk. The point I'm trying to make is that I believe, and I say I believe because we're talking about Ryan Day, or we're talking about Brian Hartline. If they didn't think that Kyle McCord could get it done, why weren't they at least talking to other quarterbacks? They went and got a 6th year. They got a COVID quarterback out of the Pac-12. That's what they did in the transfer portal. We didn't even get rumblings or sniffs of them talking to a starting level quarterback in the transfer portal at any point. Not after the bowl games, not during the spring. Who was available? People. I'm not saying, look at Bama. I'm not saying anyone out there was great. If anyone out there was great, they probably would have ended up at Bama. But the kid, I can't think of his name, from Vanderbilt last year, was in the portal. He's pretty damn good. I like him a lot. Gangland. I love that you were just like, you're talking about the guy from Wake Forest. And you know what? You're right. I was talking about the guy from Wake Forest. No, Wake Forest. His name's Sam Hartman. Yeah, you're right. That's exactly what I was thinking of. Get out of my head. If Ohio State had called Sam Hartman, you think Sam Hartman picks up the phone? Because I think he does. And even if he decided to go someplace where he's a guaranteed starter, at least, you said good quarterback from Vanderbilt. Yeah, that was probably, that was a dead giveaway. Yeah, but McCord can be better than the transfer portal, but significantly worse than last year's Stroud. So there will be a drop off. There can be a drop off. Let's not say will. There can be a drop off. And by the way, if we're just talking about September, there will be a drop off. There'll be a drop off in September. Because again, people are already rewriting history. I heard him do it during the spring game. Well, CJ Stroud was great right away. No, he was not. There are still people on certain message boards that will tell you that he was shadow benched. Which game was that? Against the MAC team? I've already forgotten. I don't care. That he was shadow benched for his FAU? Whoever it was. I don't remember. It was like the 3rd or 4th game of his first season. Remember, he had a shoulder injury. He sat out a week. Akron. It was a MAC team. That will tell you that he was shadow benched during the Akron
over
game.
300 yards in that game.
Yes, he did. It was Akron. But there are people out there to tell you that's what happened. And then miraculously, but he looked bad too. It was his first start. Back off. 13 of 18. By the way, he was splitting reps in this game. Just say this. He was splitting reps in that game. He did start, but Miller received a lot of snaps as well. But yeah, 13 of 18, 319 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Yeah, Miller had 5 for 8, 66 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions for Jack Miller. Does Jack Miller transfer if Kyle McCord's not that good? Does Ohio State not go after a starting level quarterback in the transfer portal if Kyle McCord's not that good? Listen.
God, speaking of Jack Miller.
I know what?
I saw guess what the over-under wins for Florida is this year?
You still at Florida?
Yes,
5-5, 5-5. It's easy to transfer portal, and he's a quarterback. That's a legitimate question.
It's 5-5.
All I'm saying, listen, I'm not my opinion, not opinions I've read from well-connected people who were watching the spring practices and said that Kyle McCord looked good, although that's true. I mean, their schedule sucks this year, as in it is difficult. Yeah, I imagine that's true. Did they get a bad pull from the SEC West? Is that the current over-unders?
Out of one place.
Alabama at 10.5. I'm smashing that under hard.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Me too.
They're scrambling at quarterback right now.
I want us to do deeper dive into
the
this.
SEC. The SEC West is kind of weak right now. Seems like everybody's leaving Ole Miss. Texas A&M's in shambles. I don't know. By SEC West standards, let me say that. Because SEC West is fantastic. It's a fantastic division in football. But by SEC West standards, they're in shambles right now. Bama doesn't have a quarterback. Texas A&M feels like a dumpster fire. Like, it almost doesn't feel ridiculous. Ohio State has 2 players out of Ole Miss. Ole Miss was supposed to get the I forget his name, but he was like the big wide receiver out of Jackson State. And then he just like, I'm going to Auburn instead. Auburn's getting a lot of kids out of the portal, but that's sometimes as much bad news as it is good news. Auburn bag. I don't know if that's an autocorrect or not. Texas A&M, yeah, they're just Texas A&M's a shambles program. It's not. Okay. I forget Mississippi State even exists most years. Arkansas should just go back to the Big 12. Yeah, there's been an unfortunate coaching change there, though, if you have forgotten, an unfortunate and unexpected coaching change there.
So some interesting ones that I saw here. So actually, let's say
you want a hot take that'll piss people off, Kyle. You want a hot take that'll piss some people off.
He
was a bad person.
We can do a deeper dive into this in a different
I'll speak ill
episode
of the
altogether.
Dead. I'll speak ill of the dead. He was a bad person.
Who is?
Just move forward.
Okay. Oh, I did find out when the Penn State whiteout.
They only call you eccentric when you have money.
Penn State's whiteout this year, Jared?
Yeah.
Not Michigan. So that leaves just one other game, and that is Iowa.
Okay. It's Iowa, Kyle. Yeah. He had to look it up.
I had to look it up. I don't keep updated on Penn State news.
We have a fun episode planned for the first week of June. That's all I'm saying. First week of June. Got a fun episode planned. It's a fun episode. It will be. It's a new yearly tradition that we're starting. I'm looking forward to it. I'm teasing it now because it should be fun. First week of June. First week of June. All right, Kyle. So are you? Your whole thing, Kyle, is that Ohio State's going to be, or at least the offense is going to be, a disappointment this year. I'm going to throw this on the table to make sure we get like a real bold take from you. I want a nice, singular, fundamental, bold take from you. Does Ohio State lose 3 in a row in the one game that matters?
Oh, boy. As of May 21st, here as I'm recording it, yes. And it hurts me to say that. It really does.
All right. There's your bold take.
It really does hurt me to say that.
Probably not all that bold. So Kyle is projecting a firing of Day. You want a passing bold take from me? Even if they lose to Michigan this year, it's a mistake to fire Ryan Day.
Yeah,
there's my bold take. No, they could go get a coach. They could go get a coach.
Yeah, who are you going to replace him with?
Someone. It's Ohio State. They can bring in someone. I'd be shocked if they lost by less than. You're being silly now. Michigan's gonna be very good this year. Look at the last. Yeah, it's. I just don't see that. Michigan's going to be good this year. They're going to be better this year than they were last year. But I don't share Kyle's pessimism about the season this year. I really don't. I think everyone's a little snake bit right now. You should be scared of Michigan, Zach. They're very good. They're good. Again, the 2024 Michigan team. Excuse me, the 2023 Michigan team. The 2023 Michigan team will be the best Michigan team of the 20th century. You want another bold take? I'm handing them out for free now. These are all bonus ones. Excuse me, 21st century. I always forget how that works. Can we just make an adjustment and just, it's 2020, whatever. Their offensive line is monstrous. They're bringing back amazing running backs. They are still a little weak in the wide receivers, but their quarterback play will be much better. Their defense will be really good. Yeah, but we have DBs now. We also have a rejuvenated defensive line of guys who are both older, and hopefully in the case of our defensive tackles, healthier. But we don't know that the offensive line is terrible. I think the interior of the offensive line is good, and we have questions at tackle. We've brought in a guy otherwise they don't bring in Simmons. Oh, I'm 100%. But they got Simmons. And I'm not saying Simmons is like the answer. I'm not saying that. But they went and Donovan Jackson, our only good offensive lineman, I said it. He's our only proven. Do I want to say that? He definitely should be the leader on the offensive line right now. That's for sure. I think that they figure it out. And I'm not saying it's going to be as good as last year's offensive line, because it's not going to be. It's going to be a step backwards from the offensive line last year.
And that's why I kept thinking, or kept saying, that you're not going to see average of 500 yards a game this year. You're not.
I think that you see a different offense this year. I think there'll be more tight ends on the field this year to help make up for the offensive line. I think because Marvin Harrison is so dirty good that you can get away with maybe having less wide receivers on the field. And also just Marvin Harrison's a goddamn cheat code.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to have Evan Pryor back. We're going to see what Evan Pryor can do. You're going to have Henderson healthy. Again, the offensive line is going to take a step back this year. There's not a Paris Johnson Jr. in the transfer portal just waiting for Ohio State to pick him up. He's not there. They're going to take a step back on the offensive line this year. But you can accommodate for that. And you don't want to accommodate for that because if you accommodate for that, you're taking a resource away from here and putting it here. So now you don't have the resource out there. But it can be accommodated for. But this is why you pay your offensive coordinators. And the defense should help make up for an offense that will struggle early. And by the way, let's go ahead and point this out. One of the worst offensive lines I've ever seen play at Ohio State was September 2014. September 2014. Now, did I say 20 twice? It was bad. Remember that Virginia Tech game? Yeah, 2014. 2014. Even Navy was bad. Yes, it was. They can get better as the season goes. I'm just saying, survive September, beat yourself some cupcakes, survive Notre Dame, figure it out from there. And the defense will be improved enough. And I think the defense will be damn good. Improved enough was last year. Last year we talked about improved enough. Year number 2, damn good. Is going to be a damn good defense this year. 100% that. 100% that. Is going to be a goddamn good defense this year. And that will help make up for early and, down the road struggles from the offensive line. Because it won't ever be great. This offensive line, as it's currently made up, won't ever be great. But we don't need it to be great. We need it to be good enough. And I think it can be good enough. And I'm glad we play Michigan in November. Be more concerned if it was in September.
Yep.
Does McCord lead us to a natty? I'm not going to say no. The third-year players on this team are insane. The true juniors on this team. Kyle, one more bold take as we go out.
All right.
The 2020 recruiting class might be one of the best Ohio State recruiting classes. I know I need to be bold. Top 2 recruiting classes at Ohio State in the online recruiting era, which essentially means since the year 2000. The 2012? I believe it was the 2012 year is hard to beat. But yeah, the 2020 recruiting class will at least be in the top 2 recruiting classes at Ohio State in the online recruiting era. See second Ohio statement. Oh, so second Ohio statement. We'll see. We'll see. And by the way, I'm not even counting the fact that Ewers is in that class. I remove him from the class. I still say this. I'm not even counting Ewers involvement in that recruiting class, because he wasn't ever. He's a reclass anyway. He was a reclassification anyway. He's barely on campus. I don't count him.
Yeah, that 2012 season's the one with that
one that
leading
Joey
Bosa was Noah Spence.
Oh man, can you imagine if you had Noah Spence and Joey Bosa?
You're thinking 2013. 2013's the class.
I was thinking
2013's the one with Von Bell.
Yeah, 2013.
Marshall, Bosa.
I said
Apple,
2012.
Zeke.
I meant 2013. I meant 2013. That's the one I meant.
God damn. Yeah. Looking at this class. Yeah.
It's insane. It's actually insane, that class. All right, Kyle, that's it. That's the end of the show. Do you have anything in Kyle's Corner? No is an acceptable answer because we're running long. How much
shit would Ohio State get if they brought on an assistant coach who had some very suspicious activities on social media that would attract a lot of attention in the wrong way?
I'm just going to say what I said on the Discord server and then walk away from this before I get myself in trouble. 1, don't hire an overt racist to be a head in your recruiting department. 2, don't hire an overt racist, period. 3, bonus points, don't hire an overt racist to run your recruiting department when half of your when half of the athletes in that sport are black. 13% of Americans are black. 50% of college football athletes are black.
Yeah,
disproportionate. So maybe don't go and get an overt racist Twitter troll to run your department, or not, wasn't the lead in the recruiting department, but was a person in the recruiting department just because you liked his last name. Listen, take it from Urban Meyer. Don't hire someone because of their grandpa. It's only going to get you in trouble. The first item on their resume shouldn't be, well, my grandpa was.
The other thing that I have in my mind here, Jared, do you think, and I'll just leave this question for you all here. Do you think within the next 5 years, or actually, do you think Ohio State will ever go back to grass field?
I don't know.
You're starting to see a lot of football programs going back to grass right now to try to save a lot of ankles and knees from these athletes. Do you see Ohio State doing that?
Do we have like proper empirical evidence that, again, saying this as someone who's watched a lot of Pittsburgh games, when that field gets fucked up, that's not good for your ankles or knees either.
I mean, what was it? The last Super Bowl, the field was terrible. And that was grass too, wasn't that? That was grass that they just rolled in, and it was garbage.
That's what I'm saying. Like, everyone's like, "Oh, go back to natural grass." Oh, that's the fake stuff's not good for this, and the fake stuff's not good for that. I got news for you.
What?
It's not. The grass can be bad too.
The other thing,
and by the way, especially, and this isn't necessarily an issue for Ohio State because they don't play that late in the season. That is, when that mud freezes.
Yes.
You're gonna wish you were landing in rubber pellets.
Yeah, I was just about to say, especially in that late November time and maybe December now that with college football playoffs expanding,
Valid point, Kyle.
that's not a great field to play on if that ground freezes.
And Ohio, and you put in grass, you're putting in grass, and if you're going to continue to expand the playoffs, you're going to need to put in heaters too. NFL fields nowadays have subterranean, is that the correct terminology to use here? Subterranean heaters to prevent said frozen dirt from happening. Mm-hmm. People cherry pick data on grass versus turf always.
Yeah. And the issue,
and you can agree or disagree with me on this, Gangland. You are a training medical professional. Here's my thoughts on this. Players keep getting bigger. Their muscles keep getting bigger. They keep getting faster. The field is staying the same size. So in essence is shrinking, but you can do a lot of things you can build your muscles to protect this, and you can improve your flexibility to protect that. But like your ligaments are your ligaments. So if you keep getting bigger and faster and stronger, and everyone else keeps getting bigger and faster and stronger, but the ligaments keep staying the same size and the field keeps staying the same size, something's going to give. And it's the ligaments. You keep bulking up all the chains around the ligaments, but the ligaments are still the ligaments. And I'm going to give Gangland here to, you keep,
and I don't know how much, I don't know.
Sudden stop, it's going to pop like a balloon.
Yeah. I don't know how much of a factor it is too. Maybe it's fine, but I mean, Ohio Stadium is right next to a river. How much does that play into a fact of trying to maintain a good grass quality field as well?
If you have Ohio State's money, it shouldn't matter.
Well, sometimes
whatever the problem is, they have the money to fix it.
Sometimes that doesn't matter. Sometimes, nature gonna be.
But Columbus's rivers aren't real. They're just wide creeks. We don't have barges or anything bigger than canoes in those fuckers for a reason. They're not real rivers. This isn't Pittsburgh.
Yeah. All right. I'll leave it at that.
This isn't Cincinnati.
I'll end it right there. I'll
Columbus is a fake city. Columbus is a fake city. I'm just going to say
Jared.
it is.
Oh, stop it. There's your hot take right there.
No. This is a fact. Most cities in the East sprung up on ports. River ports, lake ports, ocean ports. This is how most cities on the eastern half of the United States naturally grew over time. In the West, it had more to do with railroads, whatever, but those at least naturally grew. Columbus was built artificially as the state capital of Ohio. They didn't want it to be all the way down in Cincinnati. They didn't want it to be all the way up in Cleveland. So they picked a spot in between the two and they said, this is the capital. And they artificially built a city to be the state capital. This is just history. This isn't a hot take. These are just facts. Columbus was not a naturally born city the way most East Coast cities are. And a lot of the West Coast cities were, it's just they railroads instead of waterways. These are just facts. These are not hot takes. These are just facts. Same for Indianapolis. I think you meant same. And yes, that's true. Same. Indianapolis is also Indianapolis and Columbus are the same freaking city. Columbus and Indianapolis is the Spider-Man meme. 100%. We're the same city. Oh yeah, I don't mind that we're artificial. I don't mind it's an artificial city. All of our roads fit perfectly on a grid because there's nothing to stop it. You ever drive around in Pittsburgh? You get over those rivers and those mountains real quick. All right. Kyle, that's the end of the show. We did lots of state parks around Indy. We have the park system in Columbus is amazing. I will say a lot bad. I will say a lot bad about the city of Columbus. I really will. I've lived here for a long time. I have a lot of good things to say, and I got a lot of bad things to say. One, our public transit has to be the worst for a city our size in the entire country. Has to be the absolute worst for a city our size in the entire country. Code is awful, and it's all we got. Our state,
I think a lot of there's quite a few up and coming cities that struggle like that too.
We are the biggest.
I'll say Raleigh struggles with that too. It's just
Raleigh's in a tough spot because it's actually 3 cities. And
the road infrastructure is garbage. You keep saying that. Or I keep hearing about Columbus traffic is terrible. No,
it's not.
No, there's the road infrastructure of how to traverse around Columbus is very good.
Yeah.
Look at Raleigh.
It's one of the reasons why we don't have a decent public transit. It's one of the reasons why we don't have a decent public transit system, is because our road system's actually really nice. But none of that changes the fact that Columbus is the biggest city in the United States without a rail system. Yeah, we're rambling hard. But all of this to say that our city parks are amazing. That's it. All right. That's it. That's it for today's show. Tonight's ending music will be brought to you by, as I'm trying to find something, the Dopamines. We'll do the Dopamines. Punk band out of the Queen City of Cincinnati. So with all of that being said, I'd like to encourage everyone to drink local beer, listen to local music, of course, support your local podcasters. Once again, these are the Dopamines.